From the School Choice Now newsroom at the American Federation for Children, I'm Brian Jodis, and on X at AFC Press. And today I'm joined by Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. Senator Cassidy, chairman of the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, better known as HELP. And today our conversation is about education, school choice, and empowering more parents, families, and students across America, something he cares deeply about. I do as well in his home state of Louisiana. So, Senator Cassidy, just a pleasure and great to have you, sir.
Hey, Brian, good to be with you. Thanks for being concerned about school choice. Thanks for being concerned about giving that parent the power to make the choice for where her child can get better educated.
Absolutely love it. Senator Cassidy, I want to talk about this idea that President Trump calls sending education back to the states, which you're a supporter of as well. I believe we can get that done through the Educational Choice for Children Act this year. You're the lead sponsor of that in the Senate. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I kind of want to hear about Dr. Cassidy's educational journey a little bit.
You know, for all practical purposes, my parents didn't attend college. My mom took some classes when she was probably 44 or 40, but certainly didn't graduate. But they were a heck bent that their children were going to. Now, frankly, I didn't know if I was going to until I'd roofed for a summer in a Louisiana, July, August. And after roofing, it gave me incredible respect for those folks that work outdoors in construction, et cetera. But I thought maybe I want to do something else. Mm-hmm. And there was a point in my life where they thought I had cancer. And I was a senior in high school. They operated on me to take out lymph nodes. Turns out I didn't. But I think God used that to say, you know, being in medicine would be really rewarding. It would give you the sense of mission that I wanted to do with my life. Now, it's one thing to want the sense of mission. Education empowered me to fulfill, to realize that sense of mission. So I am such a believer in the power of education to take a family where the parents, you know, didn't graduate from college, didn't attend college, but great parents. Believe me, I still look at the picture of my parents and I thank God for them, and to put me on a path where I can realize the American dream. Now, I want to make sure that everybody in the United States has that same ability to realize that American dream. And I see my mission in the Senate as trying to help them realize that dream. And education, just like in my life, will often be the pathway for folks across the country. So that's my commitment to education, Brian.
That's incredibly powerful. But I know y'all have also put sort of words to action in your home state. Your wife has founded a charter school for kids with special needs. So it's just something that's become a big part of your life.
Yeah. So my daughter has dyslexia. 20% of the people watching this have dyslexia. And the stories will bring tears to your eyes. The child who's bright but can't read. So they ask him to stand up and read something in Sunday school or first grade. They ask her to. They cannot read. Sometimes they break down crying. If it's a little boy, he starts to act up because he's trying to, I'm not going to call on him because he's a clown. If it's a little girl, she just kind of folds within herself. Yeah. Either way, instead of having a life going like this, they have a life bent down under the burden of unrealized potential. So we live this as a family. My wife, she's a general surgeon. Boy, she's retired now, but she's got that sort of, if I got to operate, I'll operate. Mm-hmm. And now she's got 3 public charter schools in Louisiana, one in North Shore, which is north of New Orleans, Baton Rouge area and the Shreveport Bossier area. And she's got a plan to open up another kind of smaller school in Ruston, Louisiana, great community, North Louisiana, and in the outskirts of New Orleans. She is a woman on a mission. How do we address those 20% of our fellow Americans that don't read to get the way that most of us read and help them realize their potential for themselves, for our country?
Amazing. We're here with Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, chairman of the Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, and lead sponsor of the Educational Choice for Children Act. Last time around, we had more school choice co-sponsors than ever before. This time, about 100 members on board and picking up a lot of steam. And we're talking about this rather simple yet brilliant approach to amending the tax code to allow us to supercharge school choice across America through tax incentives for corporations and individuals, to fund scholarship granting organizations, then providing scholarships to students in every state in America in the form of a $10 billion tax credit. Boy, you've been talking about a coalition that's been building, and more momentum continues to build with this. So obviously it's important for you to be a lead sponsor on it, but why throw your support behind it? How is this an important piece in the president's education plan?
Let's just start with the history of this. During the pandemic, long after it was clear that kids could go back to school,
Yeah.
and when we already knew that not being in school was going to hurt them academically, like for the rest of their life, public teachers unions kept those schools shut down. So you're a middle income family, and you're trying to send your kid where they can actually get educated. One thing that opened up was there's a lot of private and parochial schools that open their doors.
Yeah.
And now you got to be able to afford. And there's a group of Americans who are better off, and they said, we're going to use our being better off to benefit those middle income, working income families so they can actually send their kids to school. Well, that created a model. What if we set up a program, and by the way, a bunch of states have this, and Louisiana has a form of it.
That's right.
Where we allow corporations, individuals to take a little bit of a tax credit by putting their money in a scholarship fund. Even if you have a governor hostile to giving the parent the power to choose where to send her child.
Well, we could argue a great example of how to free some people up in a state that won't even pass modest school choice through something like this.
Yes. Why should that parent be ghettoized because their governor is in the pocket of some special interest? This should be about the children. This should be about the parent having the ability to get the best educational opportunity for her child. By the way, I'm going to use the feminine here because mamas make 90% of the decisions for a child's education.
Well, and you come from a state where you've seen school choice moms be incredible grassroots advocates, and we've seen it across America. But moms across the great state of Louisiana have been fighting for a long time, even all the way back to the terrible tragedy that was Hurricane Katrina, and finding opportunities to leverage school choice to help their children rebound from that. So Louisiana has been leading the way here, sir, and we're incredibly grateful for that. And the beauty is this Educational Choice for Children Act can then supercharge. So we talked about sort of those blue states where those governors, those legislatures won't even pass the most modest of school choice programs. But in states like Louisiana, my home state of North Carolina, Texas about to come online with the nation's largest day one program here this weekend when the governor signs it, we can then supercharge and complement those programs as well.
Absolutely. And so once you set up the scholarship program, my wife's school for children with dyslexia focuses on dyslexia, and those are charter schools. But you might have another just kind of parochial school. Here you have a scholarship program. And if this option is better for the family, for the child, then there would be the scholarship set up by our ECCA program that would enable them to send their child. By the way, you're not sending your kid to the boarding school that's for the super wealthy prep. No, that doesn't qualify. We're talking about that school, private, parochial, that is going to benefit like that family, that working family, maybe both parents working, trying to make their ends meet, and they want their child to have a better life.
Senator Bill Cassidy from the great state of Louisiana. We get to talk to elected officials from a lot of states. Louisiana, one of my favorites in the entire country because of the people, right? The people make that state just as credible as it is. We're talking about this path to supercharge school choice across America, the Educational Choice for Children Act. So the question is then, Senator, how do we get this done this year? Time is of the essence. We need to move ECCA this year. So how can our viewers and listeners help you get that done? What has to happen now?
We think that it's going to, put it this way, our vehicle will be the reconciliation package. Now, there's a lot of things that are uncertain about when that'll pass. I can't give you a timeline.
Sure.
But I do know that we have 77 House members who are co-sponsors. We have 23 senators, if my memory serves me correctly. So there's broad support on this. And among the Republican Party, which is, this is a Republican issue. How do we give power to the parent? How do we allow that mom to make her choice? That's a very compelling point to make. And so if your stakeholder is the child's education, this is a no-brainer. And so we're going to have it in reconciliation. I know that there's people both in the House. I'm the person in the Senate trying to get it across. nothing's done until it's done, but that's our goal.
Well, and that's the opportunity, right? For those of you watching, listening, we've got to get this thing over the goal line. So get engaged, call those members, call those senators. Educational Choice for Children Act, $10 billion tax credit in reconciliation. It's got to be done. Senator, we're so thankful for your time today.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for what you do, spreading the word about giving the parent the power.
Our pleasure. As always, like and share this episode. Send it to your friends and family. It really does help us get this message to more people and get this important message delivered. I'm Brian Jonas. Give me a follow on X at AFC Press, and we'll see you next time from the American Federation for Children newsroom.